The Grind is sponsored by the 74million.org. The 74 is an award-winning nonprofit education news website which believes that education should be front-page news every day. I'm actually here with editorial director Steve Snyder. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Mark.
So, Steve, one of the episodes we cover is about social media and mistakes that people often make. So you're a journalist. You use social media every day. What's one mistake that you made?
Well, here's a quick story for you. I was working at a national news outlet running the website, and there was a story came across the wire that winds had swept into New York City, tornado-level winds. And so I was just about to head to a coworker's goodbye drinks, and I did a quick Google search for New York City tornado, and sure enough, an amazing image of a funnel cloud next to the Statue of Liberty. So I posted that and went to the party. And then I started seeing the tweets and the emails that we had posted a photo from the 1970s as something that had happened that night. And so, yes, I became a meme for a day.
All right, Steve, is there a moral to this story?
I think the moral might be always be wary of the thing that's too good to be true. But I should say you're going to see a lot better fact-checking at the 74million.org.
Yes, you will. Okay, so to learn more, go to the 74million.org. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Grind, the show that brings you real talk about navigating today's modern working world. I'm your host, Mark Casali. Warren?
Yeah. What's up, Mark?
Dude, what were you doing?
I'm cleaning up my Facebook profile.
And is now the best time for you to do that, Warren?
Well, yeah, because today we're talking about social media, and I'm a little bit nervous.
Oh, good point. Good point. Okay, well, Warren, you have nothing to fear because today we're bringing on a genuine social media expert to tell us how we can tweak our LinkedIn, Twitter, even our Facebook to help us present the right image when we're searching for jobs.
I know, that's why I'm nervous.
Oh, wait, now that I think about it, we might have some work to do.
But I've always considered myself really good at social media, but not in like a go out there and get a job kind of way. Just in a like, you know what it's for. It's for being social.
You are good at social media, Warren. I will say I follow you across platforms. You're very funny. But I would argue that's not the only purpose of social media. But before we get into all that, I have a surprise for you. We're meeting a new character today. Meet Ignacio. Tell me your hometown's name again.
Wapato.
Wapato.
Toe like the toe.
Wapato.
There you go.
Okay, tell me like a story from growing up. Like, what's a story you tell people?
I don't know. I mean, there was freaking school shootings and stabbings, so there's that. I mean, it's not a pretty picture, I guess. I don't think you'd want it painted for me.
Wapato may have been a tough place to grow up, but Ignacio always stayed above the fray.
I don't want to brag or anything, but I was the best football player at the school. You know, I got many all-conference awards and track and field as well. They always say ganas. That's what they say in Spanish. You know, that's the desire to do something. And that's kind of always been my motto, I guess.
And much of this desire to win came from his mom.
My father passed away when I was 4. So I guess that was tough. And she kind of, you know, she was really tough, and that kind of got us through. And my brothers and I, you know, her parenting skills, you know, were on point. None of us are gang members or anything like that. So that's a big plus for her, I guess.
Yeah, that's one in the mom column, I'd say.
Yeah, my mom's great.
And that drove him to enroll in college where he played football.
This is the thing. I've always wanted to go to college for my mom. I've always felt that I owed it to her. And I felt like college is not necessary, to be honest with you. The type of stuff I want to do, you know, I kind of want to start my own business eventually. And I feel like that's not necessary. You know, the best way to do business is to do business, not to go to school.
And after college, he landed a couple great jobs in tech. So you think he'd be satisfied, but
I've never known what I want to do. That's always been my problem. But I haven't found that thing that, you know, just drives me. I guess my mom was always kind of the drive that I did, and myself also, like benefiting my family and stuff like that. But I don't think it's ever been like one goal. I feel like it's all little goals that I, you know, set up for myself. And, hopefully one day I find what I want to do and what I like to do.
So I don't get it. What's wrong with Ignacio? It seems like he has it together.
Yeah, I mean, nothing on paper. Look, he's living in Seattle. He's got a job in tech. He's making money. And after the way he grew up, that seems like a big, big win. But he's not a kid that's ever really settled for anything. I mean, he's an athlete. He's a competitor. He wants more. So here, listen to another clip from our conversation. I was telling him about my friend Hirsch.
Oh man, he got like super addicted to online poker for a while. He would like sleep through his classes. He would like not go to class for the whole semester. But then he'd show up and ace the final. But then he'd still get a C. And I'd be so pissed. I'd be like, you spent 6 hours on this entire semester of work. And honestly, he started working really hard when he got in an environment where he thought his hard work was paying off.
That's what oh man, this guy he's me. I'm just kidding.
So does that mean do you work harder now?
I do work harder.
Are you still not in that
I'm
environment?
still not in my full potential though. I don't do a crappy job.
There's this movie that came out way before you were born, but it was there's a line in it where he's like a cool kid, but he's kind of doing his own thing, and the dad is like this like big professional guy, and he's like, "What do you want to do with your life?" And he goes, "Sir, I'm waiting for a dare to be great moment."
That's a great line. That is a great line.
Nice say anything pool. I love that movie.
Yeah, but Ignacio's waiting. Like he needs that boombox over his head, blasting Peter Gabriel type moment. He wants a job that makes him do that.
So what does that look like in Ignacio's world?
Well, you know what? He called me a couple months ago and he thought he'd found that opportunity.
This was a project management position that I missed the first time, but then I was, I was very respectful to the CEO, and we talked it out, and he said that he really liked me, but I didn't have sufficient experience in project management. And he just reached out to me like a week ago, and he's like, "Yeah, in late April we're gonna need a project manager. I wonder if you would be interested." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure."
All right, what do you know about this company?
They're pretty, they're not pre-rev or anything. They're kind of a small company, so I'd say they have like around 50 people, and they do web development for companies from any size, ranging from tens of thousands of employees to, smaller, just a mom and pop's store at the corner,
All right, cool. Okay. So then I think that's great. You're in this good spot because you have, and you should definitely keep talking to this dude, and you have that opportunity. That's a possibility. It may not come through though. I mean, who knows, right? We don't know yet until you get the offer letter. You don't know. So I think my perspective, I told you this last time, is we should use this month as a way to experiment and meet other people too and see what else is out there. Just because if you're going to go through all this trouble of switching jobs, which honestly, listening to you, I think is probably the right call. You might as well make sure you're going to the right place.
That's true.
So, Mark, why did you talk him out of it?
Well, I don't know, Warren. It's complicated, man. I mean, it didn't seem like that job that he's talking about is really going to accomplish his goal of finding something that challenges him, pushes him.
Right.
I thought he could do better.
Yeah.
Or at least I thought, look, why doesn't he look around a little bit, try a few different opportunities before he settles on this one?
But how?
Well, I mean, got to start where we all start. He needs a LinkedIn profile, right? He needs to work on a social media game. All right, so let's look at your LinkedIn profile. When's the last time you updated this?
6 months ago.
Yeah. So this header here, where it says software technologist, I guess that's your current role, but you can put something under that, which is sort of like what your industry is, I guess, for lack of a better word,
Okay.
So you could update that and then I think really the thing is like this, let me look at your bio. Yeah, it still acts like you don't have a job yet, right?
Yeah.
So you need to edit that and make it more, I would just say like, you can make this part a little more broad. Like, I am this type of person. I've had these type of roles in the past. You don't have to talk about how you're looking for an opportunity here. I wouldn't do that anymore. Okay, so Warren, Ignacio needs to beef up his LinkedIn profile so we can land that job. How are we going to help him today?
I don't know. I don't even know what a beefy LinkedIn profile looks like.
Warren. Okay, fine. Well, at least you know how to make funny jokes on Twitter, I guess. Well, how are we going to solve this for him? I don't know. What is that? What was that sound?
Sorry, guys. That's my phone.
Taylor, you're supposed to... Well, I mean, we are talking about social media.
Yeah, good point. Well, I guess now is the time to introduce you.
Hi, my name's Taylor. I'm a journalism student at the UW.
So, Taylor, part of the reason we're excited to have you on the episode is that we have a theory that perhaps the rules about social media and finding a job have changed from the time that Warren and I were looking for jobs 15 years ago to now?
15 years ago?
I don't know. Yeah, man, I was.
Wasn't it just MySpace and Friendster back then?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
it was
still had like a dial-up computer then.
It was. I mean, I started college 14 years ago.
Okay.
Shit. Yeah. All right. So that's real. That's real.
You just had an epiphany.
That's real talk right there. That's real talk about the modern working world. So when I was coming out of college, people basically told me delete all of your social media, shut it down, leave no trace. So I, turned off my Facebook. I put up my privacy settings. I detagged all my photos. I was like a social media ghost.
Yeah, I kind of heard the same thing too. Taylor, what are you going to do when you're out of school, you're looking for a job? What are you going to do with your social media? Are you going to change it in any way?
Yeah, so I kind of already have. I've been looking for jobs and internships for this summer, and I made my own Instagram page, for example, for my photography, just to market that alone.
Whoa, so you actually created more of a social media presence to help yourself find a job?
Yeah.
Okay, so as I'm listening to you, Taylor, I'm realizing there are two schools of thought here. There's the old school of thought that says when you're applying for a job, shut your social media off. At best, it's going to be neutral. And in fact, it's probably going to hurt you. And then there's the new school of thought, which says your social media is a reflection of who you are, and who you are should be critical to getting a job. So if anything, maybe add more social media like you did, Taylor. Add Instagram, right?
Let your freak flag fly.
Exactly. Let the chips fall where they may, but be you. This feels like what we need to investigate, right?
Who did you talk to?
I talked to Anna D'Souza.
So my name is Anna D'Souza. I live in Santa Monica, California, and I own my own company, Riveter. So I went off Facebook for 3 years, and truly I wasn't trying to be some sort of like cool antisocial contrarian. It was annoying me, like the kind of like posts I was seeing were annoying me, and the interactions weren't very meaningful. And I was just like, this is just another distraction, and I could do without it. And for 3 years, it was fine. It was great. It wasn't until around I started applying to business school. And you went to business school. You know what a frenzy it is to like get to know your classmates ahead of, the first day of classes. People meet up and people, have conversations. And then it seemed to me that it might be useful, right?
Yeah.
So I got back in.
So maybe let's start with, if you can, or in broad strokes, what did you work on while you were at LinkedIn?
Sure. So I was part of the sales organization, which at LinkedIn is pretty large. So just a little bit of background for folks who might not be aware, because most aren't. So the way that LinkedIn primarily makes money, like users know the premium subscriptions, right? That's not the biggest revenue channel. The biggest revenue channel is that they take users' profile and they put it into a nice product called Recruiter. There are different flavors of Recruiter. And they sell it to businesses, primarily HR organizations that want to hire candidates, right? So you can imagine like the Amazons, IBMs, Googles of the world, like they got to hire a lot of like really high quality, well-educated people. And for them, like LinkedIn is great.
What do they specifically use it for?
They use it to source candidates. They use it to go on LinkedIn and say like, I need to hire for this role, and who's going to be available.
And I was talking to a recruiter from a really big tech company here in Seattle, and they were saying they do the same thing for resumes, and that like if you don't amend your resume to include keywords in the job description, like that's what he's searching for, and if it's not there, he just like immediately throws your resume away. So are there other tricks like that for LinkedIn that we can give our listeners of like how to tailor your profile for specific opportunities, or to make you kind of hotter when you do these searches and discoverability looks?
You should look for industry specific tips, right? Because industries and roles are going to look for different things, and not just look for different keywords, but they're going to look for like different professional associations, different like company experiences, that kind of stuff. But yeah, you should definitely be peppering your profile with keywords. Like that does ping in recruiters' minds. Like, if a recruiter just generically searches for project managers in the LA area, like I'm going to pop up. I don't want to be recruited for a project management job, so it might, end up being not a wonderful use of their time, but a smart recruiter is going to perhaps come across my profile and be like, you know what? Anna just put project management as a skill. Like, people endorse her for it, but it really doesn't show up elsewhere in her profile. Like, she's probably not the best fit. And that smart recruiter is going to pass on to the next candidate. A bad recruiter is just going to wholesale message everyone with project management in their profile.
What's the advantage of having a great header what describes who you are and what you're about? And does that ever factor into any of these like searches and discoverability?
Yes, it does factor in. So, the more content you put on LinkedIn, the more content is available for you as, available as like a search word for discovery, right? By recruiters, by people prospecting, that kind of stuff. So, yes, it does matter. Whether or not you want to be super descriptive, it's really up to you. I mean, LinkedIn will tell you, like, you have to have like a snazzy headline. It can't just be like your title. It's got to be like, I don't know, if you're a marketer, it's got to be something like, maker of dreams come true, or whatever it is.
Evangelist of great products.
Yes, exactly. I roll my eyes a little bit at that.
Yeah, me too.
It's not how people search for other people.
And what's the logic for not having dates on your education?
I think that if you don't have dates around education, first of all, now I look younger. Not that it matters that much, but also it gives people, if you feel like you have a gap in there, it creates some unnecessary anxiety. You feel like, oh, people are going to wonder what I was doing for that 1 year. Like, are they going to think that I was just like shooting up meth in a crack den? Like, so I just left it off, and it doesn't raise a lot of flags. Like, there are ways for you to be wise about the information that you put on LinkedIn.
That's telling. I think that's actually a good idea, is you don't have to be completely comprehensive. And, actually you're making me want to go back and scrub mine a little bit, because there was a time where I wanted to really display my internship, for example, between my first and second year of business school. But now I think it looks kind of gimmicky that it's like a 3-month experience, do I even need that there? So yeah, I think the lesson is go back and refresh, and you don't have to be fully comprehensive if you don't want to be.
Yes. That's 100%. You anticipated one of my tips, Mark.
Okay, hit me with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to prune your social media at least once a year. And you could do it on a regular schedule. You could do it, over your Christmas vacation when you're trying to get away from your family. In any case, you tell them you're very busy, sort of preparing for professional opportunities in the new year. Or you could do it before a big, job search. But you definitely want to go in there and, like, reassess how you've, sort of positioned yourself, not only with LinkedIn, but with all your social media. Like, just go in there, like, delete the posts that embarrass you today. Like, the person you're today is not the person you were 5 years ago. And, it's unlikely that your muscles could even sustain a full keg stand. So why?
Yeah, if you're in an interview and someone says, hey, I saw you doing a keg stand, show me, you want to be able to do that.
Exactly. It would be embarrassed if you couldn't. But also, like, exercise good judgment. If there's, like, a bunch of pictures of you doing bong hits in a song, like, a hiring manager, recruiter's not going to think like, oh, what a fun-loving guy. They're going to think like, oh, this person's going to show up stoned all day,
Right.
So, like, there are bounds to even, like, that edgy taste. But you want to be exceptional in a way that matters, right? And if there's something that's like a core part of your identity and you don't want to really hide it or suppress it at work, like, you should use social media to make it known. For me, like, I'm gay, and I don't want to work in a place where I'd have to hide that fact, or I'd have to deal with a lot of people who are made very uncomfortable by the presence of gay people. So I used to have, when I was a little bit more involved in, LGBT organizations and causes, like, I used to have that on my profile so recruiters could self-select, if they thought I might be a problem in their environment, like, no need to approach me. And there are other things that people might feel very strongly about, like whether it's a religious conviction or political activism, that they want to just make sure that, whoever's hiring me knows this about me. Like, people are hiring a person and they should be aware. That's fine if you showcase that through social media. You probably should.
All right, guys, that was Anna. What did you think? What were your takeaways?
So what I gather is that there's 3 main components.
Ooh, Warren, so structured. I like it.
Yeah. So you got tailoring, pruning, and signaling.
Cool. All right. I like this. You're like a consultant in training. Okay. 3 things. There's always 3 things.
From the best.
All right. Hit me.
Tailoring, first of all, is the concept of going into your different public profiles and making it look to your employer, should they be looking in on your profile, like you are an expert or at least experienced in this field through that profile. Like if you're a DJ, put a bunch of pictures of you with headphones in front of computers.
Yeah. Or if you're applying for a radio DJ job, make sure that internship you did sophomore year at the radio station is on your LinkedIn.
Front
if you took
center.
it off, put
Right.
it back on. All right. What's number 2?
Well, that's pruning.
Okay. Wait. I feel like you're stealing my consultant.
Jump on the mic.
Okay, good. So pruning. So Anna said every 6 months to a year, you got to go back through all of your social media accounts and you got to prune. Okay. You got to pull off those nasty weeds. You got to pull out some bad tweets you don't like. If there's some jobs you don't want to highlight anymore, you got to take those down. Keep it fresh. Prune.
Yeah, sounds about right. And then the third thing is
Signaling.
Signaling. That is about your personality.
Okay.
That is things that are essential to you. You don't want to remove parts of you from your public profiles that are going to give the wrong signal. If you're a goth, deep down.
And that's a salient part of your personality.
Yeah. Then you're going to show up to work the first day, maybe not all gothic, but it's going to come out.
Well, yeah, the point is like if you're going to show up on day 2 with like dyed black hair and, huge chains and black nail polish, like that should be in your LinkedIn profile because you want people to know.
Maybe not to the most extreme.
Yeah, but you want people to know who you are, you
Right.
know? I mean, if you're not going to kind of tune that in for work. I mean, some people have tatted up arms and they wear, full dress shirts, buttoned up to the wrist, and that's fine. I'm not judging that at all, okay? But some people don't, and they don't want to do that, and they want to show their tats at work, or they want to show, a little bit more
because
about
they
their
don't want
personality.
to work in a place that would repress that.
Okay, that's the key of it, right? And so if you're sure that's what you want to do, then let that be known. Fly that flag, and get it out there.
Those are the jobs you're looking
People are going to select that. You want them to like that. And I had a question for you, Warren.
Shoot.
Are there any parts of your personality that you feel like you signal on social media that you would want people to make sure they knew about you if they were going to hire you?
That I'm a silly goose?
Totally. That's what I was thinking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, humor is important to you. You're funny. You like to laugh.
And if humor is not important to you, I don't really want to work for you.
Probably not going to work out.
Yeah,
right?
it's
Okay?
not. This thing between us, it's not going to last very long.
That's the epitome of signaling. That's why you do it.
Exactly.
All right, but I have another question. So we've just laid out these 3 wonderful rules, Warren. Thank you for doing your homework. Does that apply across platform? Taylor, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to note that Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram, and they're all used for different things. So I think that's a very important thing to.
Okay, I'm glad. I knew we brought you on for a reason, Taylor. Break it down. So how is it all different?
So for me, I feel like my Facebook profile, if I clean it up, or like I don't do a whole bunch of terrible things, and I don't put like photos of myself drinking on Facebook, but if I clean it up, it doesn't really matter a whole lot for my professional page because I'm not going to be showing that to employers, and employers aren't usually looking at your personal Facebook profile. At some points, they can be, but I haven't actually seen a lot of that. I've been told that in different workshops that's not the case. But
I just feel like that's unprofessional. If an employer is looking at your Facebook, they should know that they're looking into the private parts of I didn't want to be gross, but yeah, this is what you share with friends. This is a different side of you that is not your resume. This is not your professional.
I'm following. That makes sense to me, and it makes sense to me that LinkedIn should be the opposite, right? It's like totally professional. But there's some stuff that's kind of in the middle. Like take Twitter, right? I mean, if you're a journalist, I'm looking at you too. I mean, Twitter is basically, Warren is rolling his eyes because of what I'm about to say, is that Twitter is like a professional tool for a lot of journalists. I mean, it's how they break news. It's how they learn about news. How do you guys reconcile that? Because it's also a social tool, right?
Well, I think Twitter is one of those profiles that you should remain professional. You shouldn't be tweeting things like, I don't know. Just like all of the worst things came to my mind. But you shouldn't be tweeting a lot of really bad things like profanity and overly political statements.
Let's see. So you shouldn't tweet things like, I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. There should be a bless you for farts. That was Warren Langford on December 20th, 2011.
Wow, that was that long ago?
That
was funny.
That's a deep...
How far is an employer really going to look back on your Twitter profile?
Well,
though?
it depends. If someone's preparing a segment about your Twitter profile, they might look pretty far back.
Believe it or not, I have trimmed down my Twitter and taken out some of the stuff that I thought would be professional. So this made the cut.
That made the cut. Good.
It cut the cheese.
Well played, sir. All right, guys, look, it's important we're talking about this. I mean, this is like the fundamental question of our episode, right? Because look, we're all humans, right? We don't want to have to become robots and do what I did and just totally destroy our social media presences just because we're applying for jobs. At the same time, there's probably a limit somewhere, right?
Right.
Okay, guys, this has been great. Taylor, you've been awesome. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Any last words for the Grind listeners?
You can follow my Instagram at Taylor McAvoy Photo, MCAVOY, by the way.
I'm signing up right now.
So I just did it. Click. I didn't. I lied, but I'll do it later.
Followed.
All right. So, Warren, we got a few thank yous today. Who do we need to thank?
We need to thank Ignacio.
Definitely. We need to thank Anna.
Thanks to PG Boo and Trackman Productions.
All right, awesome. So, Taylor, you might not know this yet, but we end every episode by a riff on our catchphrase, which is grind on. So we've done, Warren did, which one did you do last time, Warren? It was like
grind ahoy?
Sounds dirty.
Something like grind ahoy. Sounds dirty. Get your mind out of the gutter, young lady. Jeez. So, Taylor, how are we going to end the episode today?
Grind on.
Grind on.
It's a classic.
It's an oldie but a goodie. All right, grind on, everybody. Thanks.